All right, and we're live. Hey, everybody, it's Anchorman here with Tick Podcast, home of Planet Xbox, all the stuff that Len normally says. I don't remember everything. But anyway, we have a really cool cast today. Len is not able to make it today because of technical difficulties, but we do have a very interesting crew here today. Let's get started with some of the people you guys may or may not know. First off, I want to introduce, for the first time on Tick Podcast, Xbot448.
What's going on, people? It's the Xbot448. And Anchorman, thank you so much for having me on here, man. I can't wait to get started with you.
All right. Also, another person you may or may not know from our multiple podcast ventures, Stinger NLG.
What's going on, guys? How the hell do I follow that? How do I follow that? I can't follow that. You know, Xbox, you're gonna have to introduce me because I can't do it. I can't do what you do.
All right, I'll do the same thing with you. Ready?
It's okay.
What's going on, people? It's the Stinger NLG.
You are the best, man. That is gold. That is solid gold.
I don't do that for everybody, man. So.
I actually have not been on Tick Podcast before. This is an honor.
Oh,
and in
man.
honor of it being the Tick Podcast, I decided tonight to wear my Xbox Live Beta shirt, which is 15 years old now, I think.
No more blue shirt guy.
No more blue shirt guy.
All right, and that leads us to introduce our secret guest on his first podcast debut, Western Drake 20.
What's up, guys? How you doing? It's Western Drake 20 here. You guys can follow me on Xbox at Western Drake 20, or you can follow me on Twitter at ThisGuy93. I also stream for Stinger on OG_NL Gaming, and you guys can check me out on there. So, yeah, I appreciate you letting me on this podcast.
All right, so we got a lot of topics to talk about today, but first let's talk about some of the incidental news. First up this weekend is the free weekend of Rainbow Six Siege. Have you guys been playing it yet?
Not yet. My son actually has a copy of it, so I could play it whenever I want to. I just haven't gotten around to it. I don't know. There's this game Halo 5 out there, and I think that's kind of taking some of my time.
Anchorman's favorite game.
Oh, man. Yeah, I impulse buy it on that.
Oh, man.
No, we've been playing. We played last night. We're gonna play
Dude,
again.
we were having a great time last night.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
May I add, for an old man, you're pretty good at freaking Rainbow Six. You got triple kills and everything.
Dude, what is it with the old man
Actually,
stuff?
I used a lot of that footage. Oh man, I'm using some of that footage. That one kill you got when we were playing on the Chateau house. Oh my gosh, I got that one where we were calling it out like, all right, he's around the corner. We had the cameras on him.
Yeah,
I got that kill on him. Yeah, it's gonna be on the next episode of Top Shelf.
that's from the Untouchables. You got him, Frank? Take him.
Yep. All right, so yeah, I know we had a blast on it. So guys, if you have any interest whatsoever in Rainbow Six Siege, go and pick it up. It is free this weekend. It is a blast. Full content available for you to play. So, we also got a couple things that did come out over the last little bit. We had the Games with Gold, where you know every single game and when they are coming on and when they are coming off for the games.
Uh-oh.
I thought it was just me, man.
Uh-oh.
I heard I'm botting out, too.
All right, cool. I was like, oh, man, I was going to have to drop out and come back again.
Yo, this sounds futuristic, man.
Yeah. You know what? We might have to take this podcast over for him.
You hear me?
Now
you
we
guys
can.
hear me?
Oh, man, I was about to go.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dude, we were about to invade, take over Tick, man. It's gonna be a hostile takeover.
Jeez.
It's funny you say that with the Games with Gold, because one of the games is WWE.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo, we got to start
Yo.
streaming that whenever that comes out.
Yes, we do. I told you, man. We're going to have to make that into a show.
I'm John Cena. I call it.
Yeah, I'm my own character. Xbox.
You could be
straight
John
up.
Cena. There you go. You could be John Cena. Give me
Oh, thanks.
Goldberg.
Wait till you see my intro.
All right, so yeah, just all the games. We know that there's going to be the wrestling game that's coming out. I think it's 2K16,
Yes.
and we know after that it's going to be and what else was there? What was the other one?
Oh,
We have first is Warriors Orochi 3, WWE 2K16, Spelunky, and Beyond Good and Evil HD.
Looks like a good lineup.
Definitely a decent one. You know, a lot of people they'll bang like games with gold and stuff like that, and they'll be like, 1 month it'll be crappy, and another month everybody will be praising it. But you got to remember, there's so many different gamers out there that they have to try to kind of work with a different variety. Like they have to try to mix it up a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I personally think that this is good. This Games at Gold is good for the stream team. You know what I'm saying, Stinger? This is definitely going to be good.
Well, I'll tell you what's. I've always been of the mind that game like these are games they're giving you. So I never look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah.
But WWE 16 is not an old game either. I mean, this game hasn't been out that long. So this is a pretty good title to get. And from what I understand, since 2K took it over and Visual Concepts, which is one of my favorite studios of all time, has been working on the franchise. This is a good game to have. There's no complaints here.
Personally, I would never pay for it, but I'll tell you that if I'm getting it for free, I'm not going to complain. It's free. Like games that are free, no one should be complaining about it.
Yeah, Drake makes an excellent point. Like, I was a big wrestling fan back in the cartridge era with like the Nintendo 64, WrestleMania 2000, stuff like that. I didn't really buy any wrestling games within that space till now. So them offering me a game, like I wasn't gonna pay for it, but since it's coming to me free, I'm definitely gonna check it out, see what the career has to offer. See if they're really in depth with the intros, and I'm all about intros and creativity and stuff, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm kind of in the same position Drake was, where like I would never pay for it.
Nah, never.
It's the kind of game I never actually spend my money on. Same thing with a basketball game or a football game. Really, I just wouldn't bother buying it.
I used to.
All right, so yeah, those are a good bit of games that are going to be coming out starting August 1st, with the first game coming out, and so those are, I guess, a good position to start at.
Well, what do you guys think about the Warriors Orochi? That's like a Dynasty Warriors type game, right?
I love those games, actually, personally, and it's supposed to have like all the characters or bosses or something like that from the old Dynasty Warriors games. I remember growing up playing those with my older stepbrother and stuff like that, and I'm telling you, man, those were solid games, and now that they're coming out with it for free, it's like another thing. I would never pay for it, but if I'm getting it for free, I'll take it.
Well, Anchorman, if you don't mind me asking, I want to ask Drake. When it comes to that, do you remember like 99 Nights on the 360?
Yes.
All right, because I'm not I've never really got into Dynasty Warriors. I haven't bought a single one of those games. So is that kind of like, is 99 Nights like comparative to the Dynasty Warriors series where there's like a bunch of enemies and you're going in and taking out a bunch of enemy AI like all at once?
Yes, it's a very have you ever, like the Dead Rising games where they have like in Dead Rising 3, they had so many freaking zombies all over the map. That thing has like an overwhelming amount of enemies in there.
See, I'm kind of excited for that. Yeah.
1 million troops.
Yeah, you just slice and dice. That's
nice.
It.
Because I've been playing the DMC reboot lately. I'm absolutely hooked on that game, and it's like that, but with the enemies times like 1,000. So I'll definitely deal with that.
Yeah, hopefully it has co-op because we could all play it together.
I'm down. I mean, I'll be getting the game, so.
No excuse not to have it. So, but I mean, hey, I'm looking forward to whatever games with gold, namely as my let's experiment with this kind of game. Let's see if it's something I'd be interested in.
Yeah.
That's what I've been using it for lately, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean,
So you're a
like
Tumblestone fan,
Banner Saga 2 coming out last month was good. What'd you say?
I
Xbox?
said so that means you're a Tumblestone fan now from last month's Games of Gold?
Sometimes we'll see how it goes. I haven't had a chance to actually boot it up and try it yet.
Dude, I played it and I fell asleep
Mostly
while
getting
playing
stuck on
it.
this Overwatch.
Oh, really? That's a surprise, dude.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you find
All right, so
sometimes you
going
find a
on
good game
to-
in the rough there like that. I mean, it's also a nice way for you to get some things that, as you guys are saying, you wouldn't normally buy. So you could find a game that maybe you weren't looking at originally, but comes out much better than you thought. And that is one of the nice things that you get from these games with gold. So I mean, there's been 2 or 3 that have come out that I've been pleasantly surprised with that I probably wouldn't have given any thought to, normally.
Well, I'm telling you, Rainbow Six Vegas 2, whenever that came out for free, I heard a lot of people complaining about it. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, that's one of the greatest games invented. Like, one of the greatest shooters ever invented for a third-person cover-based shooter. That game was absolutely incredible. So that's still, like, I was max rank on that game. And that, I mean, I think that every month there's at least usually one good game that comes out. At least.
It's at least one good game, and it's like I said before, like Banner Saga 2 got me into it, and it got me into trying out Banner Saga, and then eventually Banner Saga 2. It was something, you gave me something for free, put my foot in the door, and encouraged me to buy another one. So I mean, hey, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on to one of our real topics for the evening, one of which I find extremely interesting. We had the sales numbers for last quarter for Street Fighter V come out, and needless to say, it was abysmal. It was they were tracking at under 100,000 copies worldwide in what was it, 3 or 4 months? I think it was just 3 months, which is February 20. I know, yes, it released exclusive at the initial point. I don't figures are at, but I mean, I know it was. And the only reason this really kind of pertains to Xbox is namely that there have been a lot of rumors lately about whether or not Street Fighter V would be coming to Xbox. And we've seen a listing on Amazon, which anybody can list anything on Amazon, so I don't really trust it. But then we saw a listing, and that kind of piqued my interest. So we don't know what kind of deal Capcom got in with Sony. Do you guys think that Street Fighter V in some capacity will be making its way over to the Xbox One? Let's start with Drake.
I don't know. Possibly. I think that if they, like, Capcom's not doing well anyway, so I think that they might possibly choose to do that. And like we were talking about, the other day, that they might just, like, put a different name, slap a different name on top of it and stuff like that, with, like, Street Fighter V Ultra Edition or just something weird like that. They might come out with some extra name on it and just be able to come out with it because they did not make what they expected to make on that game. So I feel like they have a chance. They could. There's a possibility they could, but I'm not certain.
What about you, Xbot?
It's weird. All right, it depends on what the contract is with Capcom and Sony first and foremost. Now I do know that at times within the contracts there's certain stipulations that so many units have to be sold and such to maintain that I guess exclusivity. With Capcom's finances, I mean, we all know Capcom's not in the greatest position financially. They could definitely have something like that in the contract with Sony. And obviously, it doesn't look like they're hitting the numbers that they thought they would hit. So is it a possibility? Yeah. Do I think it's going to happen? Oh man, it's tough. With seeing GameStop and having that image shown along with Amazon, I mean, you can Photoshop anything. Let's just be honest here. But it's a possibility. Now, do I really care? Not really. That's I mean, there's so many other great like fighting games that are on the X1. The first and foremost is Killer Instinct to me, and I absolutely love that as a fighting game. So Street Fighter, I know it has like a nostalgia effect, and I did play a bunch of them back in the day, but it's kind of like meh to me now if it does come over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to Stinger. What do you think, Stinger?
You know, now the Amazon and the GameStop listings aren't there anymore, so I'm not sure those weren't photoshopped in the first place, because I never saw a link to these. All I saw was the picture. And if you do a Street Fighter V search now on Amazon, the only thing that comes up is the PlayStation 4 edition. Although interestingly enough, the only box that has PS4 console exclusive is the collector's edition. The standard edition does not. So back when this game was announced, I mean, Sony and Capcom were both adamant in saying that the Xbox was never going to get a version of this game. And we all remember Adam Boyes walking out on stage and saying, "This, any version of Street Fighter V is PlayStation only." So it would have to, as Xbox said, if there's a trigger in the sales units that contractually gets them out of it, they'll do it. It's also kind of interesting that this comes on the heels of Adam Boyes leaving PlayStation. Now, I'm not saying that he's the cause of this happening, but perhaps in whoever is taking his spot, maybe Capcom's gone to them and said, "Look, we're not making our money back on this, on either the PS4 or Xbox. Would you give us permission to go ahead and make an Xbox One version?" It's not uncommon that companies that have console-only games, like Remedy does, would later on announce PC versions after Microsoft would allow them to do that. So there is a possibility that that's happened. I'm just not sure. I don't know if this is a franchise that Sony wants to hold on to either. I mean, they don't own the IP, but of course they own the exclusivity rights to this version of the game. So from Sony's perspective, why would they want to give that up? Maybe Capcom's perspective is a little different, and maybe there was some jumping of the gun too. The other thing that may have spawned this is, everybody kind of thought Tekken 7 was going to be a PS4 only game, and that is coming out on the Xbox One, and perhaps Capcom is trying to do what they can to, maybe they see some sort of high interest in the game, and of course Xbox also mentioned Killer Instinct, which is their premier fighting game and only getting better, and maybe they want a piece of that pie, and maybe they're trying to get it.
Hey, Stinger, something came up on Crossfire that I was just on before we came on here, and it's a really good point. Somebody suggested that with Dead Rising 4 and people saying that there's maybe there's like a year exclusivity on that. Maybe like Capcom struck a deal between the two companies, like, all right, well, DR4 not necessarily completely exclusive to X1, it'll come out a year later, on the PlayStation 4, and in return, the Street Fighter title that we touted to be exclusive, since it's been out for a while, will go to the X1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that could be done as well. I mean, Capcom, like I said, Capcom is not doing good financially.
No, they're not. I'm surprised that they're
that's a point
not.
I want to bring up is that Street Fighter V is, I think we could all agree, is probably Capcom's flagship title. I think we could all agree like that and Resident Evil are pretty much like those are the biggest, at least mature rated titles.
Those are
Devil
the
May
big
Cry?
Like, this is that, or maybe I don't know, maybe not
No,
Street
it's
Fighter
bigger
5, I
than
think it's
DMC,
actually,
man. Come on.
but
Well,
like, I'm
Street
getting
Fighter
at the point where
Street
it's
Fighter
like
is bigger than
Street Fighter-
DMC, yes, but I don't think Dead Rising is bigger than Devil May Cry.
No, I wasn't talking about Devil May
Um,
Cry. I was talking about Dead Rising.
No, I know, you were saying-
I'm sorry. I'm
you
thinking
were-
Resident Evil. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, no. Resident
Sorry.
Evil's bigger
yeah.
than Dead Rising.
Yeah, I was thinking another zombie game. you know the big theme of this year's E3, more zombie games.
Oh my goodness.
But just I don't know why I said Dead Rising. But anyway, the point was Street Fighter is kind of their big flagship title. And if I were Capcom and I was going to agree to an exclusivity deal, I would want to make sure that thing was going to sell gangbusters. That like this is my big ship title. You need to be able to come gonna lose by making this exclusive. And this is I think they were expecting a lot more sales. I think, especially with the way it's handled lately, it's probably either going to get a drastic price cut, and I mean a drastic price cut. We're talking like more than half off. Like they're talking about $20.
I don't think, honestly, exclusivity to the PS4 is the reason that Street Fighter V is doing as poorly as it is. I think the reason Street
I don't
Fighter
even think
V
that's a
is
reason.
poorly as it is because
It's
it
a
came
piece.
out. Yeah, it came out broken and incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know people that were so excited to have the game. I mean, so excited to have the game, and within, I don't know, 3 weeks they were done with it. They were just like done. I don't even want to play anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
And
see,
it's sad because they're putting this effort into fixing the game, but people just don't want to play.
see, here's the thing. Like when it was announced that Tomb Raider, right, was going to be exclusive on X1 for a year, right? A lot of people were like, well, that title screams multi-plat. Why are they doing this? And stuff like that. And that whole news got bashed. And then all of a sudden Street Fighter comes along, and it's like, it might be the same thing, but Street Fighter does scream multi-plat as well. I mean, Street Fighter has pretty much been multi-plat the same way Tomb Raider was. So, like, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if there were some type of loopholes within the contract that were based around, sales, units sold, stuff like that. And it wouldn't surprise me to see it come out. But like I said, like, with how they did the launch of this Street Fighter V with like very little content and so many problems and stuff like that, like I could care less right now if it does come over to the X1. Now, for people who are hardcore Street Fighter fans, I would figure that they would have already bought the console that it was coming out on at launch. But for people who didn't and are still hardcore Street Fighter fans, I'm rooting for you guys. Hopefully it does come out for you guys. But for me, I'm already moving past that.
I honestly believe most of the hardcore Street Fighter fans are still playing Street Fighter 4.
Good point. Very good point.
I just don't think they've. I think this. There was more to it than being I mean, the net code was broken. I mean, I am honestly surprised that they were able to have the Capcom Cup, because I figured that the game would just not work. Live. So I guess it's easy to do it when you're on the same platform, but or you're on the same console and stuff like that. But man, I'm surprised that some of these tournaments didn't have issues of some sort.
Well, Anchorman, didn't Street Fighter 4, when they redid it for the PS4, like,
Yeah, it had a problem.
it seems that
latency
Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5, the newest Street Fighters, seem to have an issue with the PlayStation.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what caused it.
Technically, there's just
I
something
know,
going on
the
there.
last one, Ultra Street Fighter 4, did have issues when it launched. On the PS4, at least.
Yeah.
Launched on. So, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what the deal is. I don't know what's going to end up happening. And I think it's just a thing we're going to have to wait and see what ends up happening. And if if anything does happen, we're not going to hear about it. I can't see anybody paying for exclusivity that doesn't last.
Like I said, the crazy part is that, even, Capcom was so adamant about this. There will never be a Street Fighter V on anything but PlayStation. That was so adamant for this. If this is true, this is even just based on just the news itself, even more than the game. The news itself is kind of big because it's a reversal of epic proportion. Although we've got some really great people in the chat room, in your chat room tonight for the Tick podcast, and the Morganism said it won't be Street Fighter V, it'll be Super Street Fighter V, and that's kind of what Drake was just saying, is it might not come out as Street Fighter V,
Yeah.
They'll call it something else. That's
yeah. I think they're looking for legal loopholes. Anything.
Super Alpha Ultra Street Fighter 5.2.
If you guys are wondering why I'm so quiet, is because usually, to be honest with you, I'm not much of a Street Fighter fan. I've always been more of a Tekken. Like, as a little kid, I remember growing up playing Tekken like every single day and stuff like that.
Wow, Drake, we're not friends anymore, man.
Yeah, I'm not much.
You know that.
Virtual Fighter win.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm more of a Killer Instinct fan than I am than anything else, though, because I just started getting into it. I have a buddy who's been teaching me how to play it, but I've never really cared for Street Fighter personally. It's a good game. I'm not dissing it. It's just not something I'm into. I don't like the artwork for it.
Me personally, I'm actually a DOA fan. I love Dead or Alive.
DOA.
Right? I didn't get Final Round. It's one of those games that I have in back of my mind for whenever I get a little bit of extra money. There's just so many games coming out. I want to make sure that we have enough for all that as well. But I'm a big DOA. I played DOA 2 on the Dreamcast, and ever since then I've been hooked on that franchise.
1v1 me, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't want my drunken master style, man. For real. Me and Brad Wong, we go a long way, man.
Man, I never really got into the whole fighting games. I used to play Street Fighter like at the actual arcade on occasions, but I was more of a Smash Bros. Guy. That's as far as fighting games I ever went into.
Yeah, it's funny. Morganism in the chat was just talking to Super Smash Bros. For life. That's what he's saying.
I was always Mortal Kombat and Virtua Fighter. Sega.
Nice.
Sega had the best fighting game ever.
Mortal Kombat.
All right, so moving on to a little something else, because we do have a couple topics we got to cover tonight. We Happy Few just went in game preview on Xbox and also on early access for a PC, and you can go and play that game now. I got to play the preview build at E3, and I know Xbox here's got to play it. Have you guys, Stinger or Drake, got to try it out yet? It was a free trial.
I have not yet, but our own
for an hour, man. Come on.
Yeah. Our own man HTK360, who is also in the chat room right now, he did for Next Level Gaming. He did a fantastic walkthrough, both on Twitch and we put it up on the channel.
Oh,
nice.
I have not played it myself though. I want to. I'm sort of I'm leery when it comes to game preview and early access stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to play the game in a current state, especially a game like that that's that to me doesn't look like it's got a much in the way of replay value. It's once you're done, you're done, and then they fix it, or they fix whatever bugs are wrong, or they add whatever gets added to it, and then you get to play it again. I almost want to wait until it's done.
See, I'll probably end up. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, because Xbot, you played it and you kind of really dug it. So where am I missing on that?
I think as far as replay value, I could see your kind of trepidation for jumping in on the game preview, especially right now, because right now Compulsion Games doesn't even have the story element in it. Within the story, there's actually 3 different playable characters. So I'm thinking within the story, there's 3 sides to this story that's going on, which could be very interesting. I'm big on this whole like Orwellian 1984 type environment. Kind of the case of the man trying to hold you down, censoring news, stuff like that. Everybody's like taking this drug to stay happy, kind of forgetting about like the negative events that got them to where they are right now, and you being that one person that decided, you know what, I'm not going to take that drug anymore. I'm going to deal with my problems. I'm going to deal with the negativity myself, and to see the difference in societies, because in the game preview as of right now, when you do make it up to the surface, you're actually in like the outskirts, I would say, and it's where they put people that don't take joy normally. They just kind of kick them out of the good part of town. I don't know. It's real interesting. It's real kind of psychedelic when you get into certain houses. There's like pinks and purples and lights like on the walls and stuff. For it being an alpha, the graphics look really, really good. I was actually really surprised. The God rays when the sun's setting or rising and stuff like that. The graphics really bring you into the world. I do like the crafting aspect. I think Anchorman would like that as well, you know, being art, Minecraft, stuff like that. And then, like, with the center of it going around this drug called joy, there's also other drugs. Like, I picked up mushrooms, and they're like, oh, now you can craft psychedelics. So can you imagine what this world would look like once you, like, pop the psychedelic and you just see, like, freaking, I don't know, maybe like a lava lamp type effect where everything's changing colors and all sorts of stuff. Like, this game has a lot of potential.
Yeah, it does. And one of the things I got to talk about, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's something that, before I forget about it, when I was talking to Whitney Clayton, one of the designers for We Happy Few at E3, she was talking about it is randomly, like, procedurally generated on some of the areas because you can't just walk out of town. And so the town continues a little bit, and a lot of some of the details are just, it's a part of this program that they run on the inside. And one of the things that she was telling me about was that the game, it was heavily inspired by, like, the whole mod thing, like in the late 60s.
Okay.
Where it would, like, right around whenever TVs were just about hitting color, and the whole odd color configurations and such. And it was it was very interesting because she talked about a couple things based on the story and the whole setting, and I'll probably avoid them because I want people to actually play the game. It's going to be a really good game when it finally comes out, like as a full release. But I mean, it's definitely go and check out the game. I'm sorry, whoever I cut off.
Oh, that was me. No, it's all good, man. I was just gonna say I'll probably pick it up for the $30 and stuff like that, and then really not even touch it until the game's fully done. Just because you can get it for cheaper, I believe, right? If you get the preview first, I believe you get it cheaper, right?
Yeah, it's always, the price is always at a discount when you're doing game preview. You're always getting it for cheaper. That's why, like, if people have an interest in this, if you like that Orwellian type thing, if you like the book 1984 and stuff like that, I would suggest, like, it's gonna be in game preview for a while, so you can kind of wait until, like, they start putting in the story and stuff. If you don't want to try it out because they have that free, that free trial, I think it's about an hour or so. Kind of, it doesn't hurt to wait. You know what I'm saying? It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'll forget about it.
It's probably, at least historically speaking, with the games that go into preview, I mean, you're saving some, but it's not going to be that. It's not going to be a $60 game, like, either. I mean, you're looking at games like Elite Dangerous, I know in particular. Like, you buy that game, you buy Elite Dangerous for like $30, I think it was $30 or something like that, whatever it went in preview. But when it released, it was like $37. And it was like, oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy it and just, I mean, I could buy it and then just kind of let it sit.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
And, just kind of have it on hold, like a pre-order, just about.
Yeah,
like
a
pre-order that you can play.
I don't want to forget about it, so I just want to purchase it and then kind of be done with it until a little bit more stuff comes out, at least, because I'm not the first person to always rush on a game when it comes out, especially like previews and stuff, because it's like, why would I want to play something that's unfinished right now? For a lot of people, it helps them out and stuff like that. That's good for those people that are willing to do that, but I kind of want to get the full experience when it comes out, and if I can get it at a discount price and I don't have to pay for the full price, or I don't want to forget about it, because I'll forget about it if I don't have it in my games and apps. So I mean, I might as well just pick it up right now and then just wait a little bit.
Well,
Yeah,
Drake,
however you want to do it. For me, I don't know. I'm torn because I promised Whitney I was going to get it. But, and I mean, I promised her, and I'm sitting here like I'm probably going to pick it up right after I get back from vacation, which is going to be gone next week. I'm going to probably pick it up then after that. But I'm also kind of like, if I buy it now and I sit on it and wait for the final release to come out, am I going to be disappointed? Am I going to spoil it for myself later, or do I want the thrill of buying it then? I don't know. I'll see how it goes. But also, we have our last topic for the night, and this is one I wanted to kind of get to a little bit later in the evening. So, mods. This is something that console gamers have been wanting for a very long time, and we kind of gave up on the idea of it because we just don't, get that attention. And Fallout 4 did something that was unprecedented, allowing console mods to exist in the first place and to be readily available on Xbox. So this was something that people wanted for a long time, and Xbox got it first. They got it, I think it was was it in June? Yeah, I was pretty sure it was in June. No, it was before June. PlayStation was supposed to get it in June, so we must have gotten it in May. And it was towards the end of May. And mods, for the most part, have been a blast. Like there is nothing regulated. I think the only kind of mods that they are regulated are nude mods, but anything else, you can even push that boundary. You can do pretty much anything the PC can. Even graphical overhauls. You can do retexturing. You can have that whole green overworld. Everything about it. So one of the main selling points of the game for Xbox was mods. So much so that it's still in the top 10 most played games on Xbox. It is pretty high up there, and I haven't seen it drop off the list yet. And it's been out since November. And the real thing is that this has been such a success for Bethesda, at least on Xbox, that they even marketed that Skyrim Remastered was going to have mods that were going to be available day one for people to play. And that was a big selling point for that game. A lot of people are picking it up. I know one person who's picking it up for the sole reason of playing with the Transform, whatever reason. On Skyrim. I was like, all right. But the bigger question right now is that along the lines of how Xbox's policy has been in the last 3 years. Console mods are not working on PlayStation. There's a lot of problems. There's they're working through. They don't have a big enough a basis, and I don't think it's any relation to if the system can handle it. I'm sure the system can handle it. The Xbox One can handle it. The PlayStation 4 can handle it. But there's a lot of other side problems that are going on with it. And if mods are even going to be on the PlayStation 4 version of the Skyrim Remastered thing. I want to ask you, the panel, the impact of that on the Xbox community and the overall messaging of Xbox.
I think that it leads to great things to come for the consoles and stuff like that. It's showing that consoles can do more and they can be able to play mods, which is like something that, like you said, we never thought we'd be able to do. So I think that's pretty incredible because technology is evolving, man. Like something that we never thought we'd be able to do, a bunch of things we never thought we'd be able to do, now we're able to do. And Fallout, I'm pretty happy that it's Fallout that, actually was able to be the first to do that. For consoles, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Anchorman, I'm kind of curious. You said side problems when it came to mods working with the PlayStation 4. Can you elaborate a little bit more? You were botting out a little bit, so I didn't hear the whole question.
Oh yeah, really the major problems have been going on. It's there's been proprietary audio problems, namely the licensing sounds and stuff. Like at least the way the current mods are set up, you could do anything. Like there are radio stations with Michael Bublé or Metallica radio stations where
I
know for a fact
Nice.
Metallica They did not ask any of these bands to have their music in the game. I know that. But
Cannot stream these.
it's stuff like that, and it's where Sony's cracked down on that. Like, they don't want that kind of stuff. Any kind of music or sounds you're adding to the game don't work. And I know, like, on Xbox, the way they have console mods set up, you get like a 2 gigabyte pool of mods you can put on there, and as long as you don't go over that limit, you can do it for the mods you add to it. And on PlayStation, I think it's like half a gig.
It's 900 meg.
What is it?
900 meg.
900 meg? I wasn't quite sure what the exact number was, but I knew it was less. And so those are the problems with that end. And it's a lot of... I feel like the issue with that one is that Sony's being a little too cautious on it. Like, they don't want it to mess up the game, and so they're really restricting it. Because like with Xbox, you could you can mod it as long as you
crashed his Fallout for downloading so many mods before. Like he's done that. I don't know, when it comes to mods, I mean, it's a cool idea. There is a section of gamers out there that are quote unquote modders. And you know, it adds to the replay value of the games for people who are interested in that. For me, I see a lot of them as like being like what you said about Transformers in Skyrim. I even saw like a Alien and Predator skin going on in Skyrim, which I thought looked pretty cool. I think it's a cool thing. Like you said, nobody thought it would happen. So to see it come out and to see it being, I guess you say, more and more developed, where another game with Skyrim is going to come out with mods, and it looks like Microsoft is truly embracing this without that extra caution that Sony is showing. Microsoft comes out looking like they're shining a little bit when it comes to that, and you know, a lot of people do want those mods in their games.
I haven't done mods in games in a very, very, very long time, in my old PC days. And for me, it was like, so the original Doom, like we would have mods like The Simpsons. So, you know, you'd have Homer Simpson as the main character instead of Doom Marine, and he would, instead of shooting bullets, he'd throw donuts. You know, you'd have a whole cadre of The Simpsons sound effects too. So. Yeah, and then that stuff was cool. So I mean, there is potential in mods. The question is, and it's a great question. It's a great thing that Xbot you brought up. Mods right now, I think, are more of a niche demographic than anything, because nobody on a console has ever been able to really do it. So the masses, the casual gamer that just picks up Fallout 4 because it looks cool, not necessarily because they're a fan of Fallout 3 or something like that, they may never do it. They may never try it. But those who do are going to open themselves up. It's one of those things that once you do it, then you go, crap, what else can I do to this game? And then you start diving in for more. Whether or not that translates into, you know, it depends on. I guess it's going to depend on if Bethesda and Sony can get their stuff together, because if not, and they never come out, Xbox looks like the only platform you could do mods on, and then other third-party developers who want to do mods, who want to allow mods, they're going to have a harder time doing them for both consoles. And maybe they won't want to. Maybe the Xbox becomes kind of your default mod console, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it would suck to see that the PlayStation guys not getting to know the glory of the mod master race.
Oh goodness!
As my friend Kev West would say. But I don't know exactly what to say, really. It's more of a, with Microsoft, and Xbox kind of hinted at this. Microsoft, because they've been losing, are taking risks. They're willing to get their hands dirty, because God knows that Microsoft never would have allowed this at the 360. They wouldn't have bothered. They wouldn't even thought about it. No, unless you can start paying for mods. No,
Well,
we
this
would
is-
not even think about it. But it,
Yo,
it just
Anchorman, this is like the second thing because Microsoft, when it came to like crossplay between consoles, Microsoft kind of sat back like, well, we're ready for that. We're just waiting for Sony to say yeah. When it came to like, I call it soccer cars, other people call it Rocket League, but they're just sitting back like, yeah, we're ready for that. We have everything in place. We're just waiting for Sony to say yeah. So this is like two things right there that they're just kind of sitting back like, yeah, this is what we're doing. What's going on over there?
Agreed.
Mhm.
Agreed.
But how much of that, Anchor, you just said, well, it's they're losing and therefore they're willing to take risks. How much of this though is more along the lines that we've had a major change in leadership in many
Very good
places
point.
of Microsoft. I as someone who has been a multi-plat guy for a very long time, I get to look back and watch the ridiculousness of some of these arguments that I see. And one of the big ones has always been to me, well, Microsoft is losing, therefore they're Microsoft did a bunch of stuff when they were winning too. With the Xbox 360, they did a bunch of stuff with the original Xbox. That is just it's where Microsoft wants to go. Microsoft has the unique perspective of always having their toe somewhere in the PC market. And when Steve Ballmer left and Satya Nadella came in as CEO of Microsoft, this is a guy that, because he worked in their cloud division, has this grand vision of everything connected together. You went from Shane Kim, who I thought was a really good head of Microsoft Game Studios, to Peter Moore, who advanced a lot of things. Actually, they worked together kind of. And then, you had Don Matrick, and then you had Phil Spencer. And Don Matrick and Phil Spencer seem to have two almost very diametrically different views.
They're polar opposites.
Yeah, of how they feel the game division wants to go. Phil wants to, for example, sell Microsoft games. If he could make those things work on Windows phones, I bet he would. He wants to sell as many of them as they can. So, where in the past crossplay and things like that were kind of a poorly done pipe dream, and we had Shadowrun, which I enjoyed. I don't know why nobody else did. And you had games with games for Windows Live. Those were kind of shots in the dark at getting to where they're getting now. When they start changing ownership and when they start changing management, and that management comes in with a whole different idea, I don't think that has anything to do with sales. I think it has to do with, well, where can we maximize our revenue, and where can we maximize the pool of people that can get into and buy our game? And that's why I think they're doing more things that they wouldn't have done last time around, because I don't think anybody was thinking about it. I think Don Matrick was, he came from EA. He was a third-party developer. I think he came to Microsoft thinking like Xbox was strictly a console, and he wanted nothing to do with PC. Phil Spencer is the head of Microsoft Game Studios, and working on PC games at the time. If you've ever listened to him, he worked on stuff like Flight Simulator. So he understands that Microsoft's always had a PC influence inside their company.
Mike, it's a good thing that you said about Spencer. You made some like really good points there, especially with Satya Nadella coming in, from basically the cloud division, everything all in one, which is where Microsoft is going as a whole. Now, another thing is, if you look at who's running the ship now in terms of Xbox, you have Phil Spencer, you have Mikey Barra over there as well. These are also PC gamers as well. So you take where Microsoft is going, you see who they put in charge of everything, and you can see a lot of stuff that was in the PC gaming space coming over to the console. It's like they're picking out a lot of the stuff that they liked from PC gaming, which they do, and they're like, well, how can we bring it over here? And then Microsoft as a whole is like, well, how can we bring everything together? And I think that's the whole thing that Microsoft is doing. Let's bring everything together.
The whole reason that the Xbox even exists is because Bill Gates gave the go-ahead to be able to, have Windows in your living room, and it still only exists because Windows existed on the PCs. And I think they've been planning for quite some time to be able to have it on the PCs and playing like together, for you to be able to play together and stuff like that. They just never had the proper, way to do it. The only reason why it exists is because of like the PC, and I think that they definitely wanted to be able to like mesh the two together and stuff like that. So I think this has been a long, going process that they've been trying to do.
And yeah, they just got the right people like in charge now to really push it forward. And with Windows 10 and what that does for the console and for the PC, they have the platform to do it as well.
Well, the hardware is there too, and that's the other thing. Microsoft built their hardware the same way Sony did on x86 PC platforming. In fact, people don't remember this, but the original Xbox was a Pentium 3 with standard off-the-shelf PC parts, which is why it was so easy to bring PC games over to it with a DirectX core. The Xbox 360, of course, was a lot different, had different architecture. It had to redesign a lot of things. Now, and this is why you're seeing this whole iterative console nonsense, which I still consider, I still don't understand this yet. You're seeing them being built upon PC platforms so they could do iterative consoles because they're at that place. You can't convince me that if Microsoft was the market leader right now that they wouldn't be doing any of this. So of course they'd be doing this because this is their plan. This is what they wanted to do, and they built the hardware around it, and they built the hardware to run Windows 10. They didn't do that. I mean, that didn't happen because they're losing in sales, and all of a sudden they said, "Oh my God, we got to shove Windows 10 in here." No, it was built with that. Right. It was built before a single console was sold. It was built that way, and so they're doing this because this is their plan. It has nothing to do with sales.
Yeah, the whole truth was actually another thing relating back to Bill again. The Bill Gates actually hated the Xbox 360 because the whole purpose of it was to be able to put Windows in your living room, and it was not really the proper Windows. You know what I'm saying? This is the first console that actually is Windows in your living room and stuff like that. And like I said, it's been a long going idea, I'm sure. It's been in the talks for a while. You just had to get the proper people to be able to do all this stuff. Just because they were leading last console gen, but it doesn't matter. Like, they were still planning on doing this. It does not matter at all. It was going to happen either way.
Yep, and that's a good point. That's a really good point about the whole issue. I mean, yeah.
Well, and think about this too, and I don't mean to. This is something I'm actually kind of I passionate about when I talk about, because it's something where I think a lot of people have so much misinformation that it doesn't serve well to have arguments over it when the facts are fairly plain. The minute Microsoft put Windows 10 into the Xbox One, the Xbox One and the PC ceased to be two different platforms. I've had conversations and sort of debates with PC guys that we're having this new thing about what's a console exclusive and what's an exclusive, because Microsoft has no exclusives now because everything's coming out on PC.
Which is bull.
It absolutely is, and the reason is because what Microsoft is doing, whether PC gamers like it or not, the Xbox and the PC are no longer two separate platforms. It's one ecosystem.
They're a family.
They're a family. It's one ecosystem with two devices. Those devices can share Xbox Live. They can share code. They can share basically they share games at this point. They can share saves. You can cross-play. You can cross-talk. You can do all the things that you could not do in previous generations. And now it encompasses everything. And it's difficult to get PC gamers to understand that doesn't, PC gamers then ask the question, well, why do I need an Xbox One? In which I always have to respond, well,
need one.
you don't. If you've got a PC that's worthy of playing these games, that's fantastic. That percentage of crossover PC and console gamers, I would peg between 3 to 5% of the entire landscape of gamers. If it's any more than that, I would be shocked.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
One thing, when it comes to like Windows 10 and what you're saying about PC and the console kind of being just two devices that run one platform, a lot of times when I talk to PC gamers, I say Windows 10 is like a gated community within your PC, which is why there was a lot of issues with certain features that PC gamers were kind of used to. The first couple games that came out that had the crossplay and stuff like that, there were issues. It's because what Microsoft is doing is they're allowing these games to go onto Windows 10, but they want to keep the security and the control for these games not to be pirated and stuff like that. Even though a couple of people have gotten in and did it, I believe with Tomb Raider and stuff like that, it's not as rampant now, and they're going to keep on strengthening that security, and it's kind of like being a gated community within the PC gaming space. That's the best way that I try to explain to these people what's exactly going on with Windows 10.
Absolutely. And do you guys remember what happened when Steam launched? It was riddled with problems.
Oh yeah.
It was riddled with problems. PC gamers were livid. They were like, we're never going to use Steam. Steam sucks. And look at it now. It's the shining star of PC. You can't even buy PC games in any kind of real capacity in retail anymore. So I think the evolution. Everybody is always about, well, consoles can evolve. Well, PC and console can evolve together, and that's where Microsoft's taking it. And that, the great thing is Microsoft doesn't care if you think it's an exclusive or not. They get the money either way. And every dollar they get from PC and console together, which is why when they report their quarterlies, I guarantee you will never see a breakout of how much was sold on PC versus how much sold on
together.
No, they'll just say Windows 10.
It will always be together, and it will always be that because they don't care. And every dollar that they get from PC gamers that they wouldn't have gotten before is going to go right back into games that both the console and the PC are going to get anyway. So everybody wins.
Exactly.
I agree.
So.
But yeah, just wrapping up here. Remember, everybody who's watching right now, you can put your questions in the YouTube chat. This kind of ends the portion that will be available on Podbean and whatever other platform we're putting this on. Now it's just going to be just a YouTube exclusive portion talking about this Q&A session. We'll give you guys a few minutes just to put those in the chat. So we will wait. And we'll talk about something else in the meantime.
I don't have on hold music or anything.
But yeah, I'm just real quick.
Little elevator music.
While we're waiting for the questions to go into the Q&A portion, I just want to do just a quick outro session for everyone. So we had our more known guests, Xbot448.
Yes, sir. Yeah, well, I do want to say even before the Q&A, Anchorman, it's a pleasure. We've done a few podcasts in the past. I always like coming on and talking games with you. In terms of stuff I'm doing, of course, you guys can go and check out my content on my channel, which is Xbot448. Not only do I have gaming content, I also have, I've gotten back into live streams. I started back up with First Impressions. I did a We Happy Few First Impression. I'm going back into game reviews as well. And then the big thing is every Saturday, 6 p.m., We have a podcast called The Next Podcast. It's me, O Snap Suckers, K Mega 405, Fooskies, Newark NJ, and the man, The Don. It's every Saturday at 6 p.m. Absolute awesome show. I love our panel. Not only that, we do show gameplay while we are talking about games and different gaming news. You can also check out thenextpodcast.com. My wife, O Snaps, has done an incredible job on that website. Not only does it have like information about each of the panelists on the podcast, but it also has like different community podcasts, up-and-coming YouTubers page. It does links to the special guests that we've had on the podcast. It's just a all-around website. It's absolutely amazing. She did an incredible job on that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
We also had Stinger NLG from Next Level Gaming.
So thanks for having me on, Anchor, and it's great to be on with the Xbot448, who is I tell you, I have to agree, man. I finally got a chance to check out Next Podcast, and besides the fact that the production value was out of this world, showing gameplay and stuff like that. I don't know anybody else that does it like that, and my hat's off to you. I was really impressed. You got a great panel too.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, I call us the Next family because like they're all like really close to me and stuff like that. I mean, you can see us on Xbox Live. Yo, Drake knows this, man. We go into his parties all the time, like all together and stuff.
Yeah, and you guys have been in our streams, and Mel's gamed with us, and Snapsuckers has gamed with us, and we love having you guys, and hopefully we get in your streams too. So anyway, so we are the original Next Level Gaming. I ran a website from 1998, actually from 2001. I worked on Dreamcast HQ for a while, and then built that till 2007. Came back last year as a YouTube channel. Been going strong ever since. We do a Sunday night podcast at 10 p.m. We're kind of the after-hours show after everybody else is done. And we've got a cadre now of incredible content creators, including our man here, Drake, who has got the NLG Twitch channel on lock and has been doing some fantastic work. HTK360, Crazy One, let's see, who else we got? We got Madzu, we got, oh my god, I know I'm skipping people. We've got content coming out the rear.
The Fine Fins.
The Fine Fins, yeah. Nahabuki and Jerez, doing the streams from Finland, and so the YouTube channel is hopping. We have a great podcast with Frankie Aller from Short Pause Gaming and Matt Jones, who we're bringing along as kind of our rookie guy, trying to turn him into a good podcaster. We're going to have Drake and the stream team on this Sunday, and then I just found out that on August 7th we are going to have the developer Hyper Awesome. These gentlemen, this man, well, actually, I think it's a single guy. He did Dungeon Punks, which Drake here has done a fantastic review and some streams for. So he's going to be on. Our last podcast on this past Sunday, we had Christian Allen from Cerealin, who also worked for Red Storm Entertainment, did a lot of the Ghost Recon stuff, worked for Bungie, did Halo Reach. We had a fantastic talk with him. And if you get a chance, just we actually spent almost 3 hours with him, which I found incredible. So, jump on and check that out, and then check us out Sunday night.
Yep. And if you guys also know, like I said, we have the Twitch channel, which is OG_NLG Gaming, and I stream on there, and you could also follow Western Drake 20 on Twitch too. That's me. But I do appreciate you, Anchorman, for letting me on. I really do. I definitely love to do it again. And Xbot, it was a pleasure being in here with you also. And like I said, Western Drake 20 is my gamer tag on Xbox, no spaces, and you could also follow me on there. We'll game together. And DisGuy93 on Twitter, you can follow me on there. Hit me up and we'll play.
This guy.
DIS. DISGY. He knew I was gonna spell it out too after he said it. Yeah. Man. But I appreciate it, Anchor. You're a good dude, and I definitely love to do it again.
All right, so yeah, let's get into some of this the questions. The first question, this is one I won't say much about. It's from Randolph Thor.
Yes. Yes.
Our YouTube stream. Who is better at Halo, Randolph Thor or Xbot?
Ooh.
Xbox.
Somebody else take this first. I'm not. I'll take this last. Come on, guys.
I think there needs to be a competition. I think we need to get you guys in the Halo Octagon.
Dude, I've been wanting to play Halo with Rand for I don't know how long, dude. At first, because for people who don't know, Randolph Thor broke a million gamer score at E3, which is absolutely amazing.
Congrats,
and
my man.
he was kind of held back before time. Really couldn't get into games that he could get achievements for and stuff like that. Just to have that stage and stuff like that, which I completely understood. But Rand, come on, man, we got to get on Halo. So until we actually play, dude, I am saying, I am the Halo ambassador. So I am number 1 on that list, Rand. I'm just letting you know, man. Come and take the crown, dude.
Damn.
If I could whoop him, you could.
Oh
whoop him
my goodness.
Oh my God.
All right. Wow. So, what are our first questions from Chris Lettuce, a regular viewer? He says, would you like to see, or do you think Microsoft will implement Netflix into the One Guide more since it's completely absent? Well, to answer the question, Chris, at least from my perspective, you guys feel free to jump in and correct me or throw your input into this. I'm looking currently at the One Guide right now, and I know in the past I've seen some Netflix stuff, at least on the front page. Depends if something just came out or something like that. Like I think it was just yesterday, I saw something for BoJack Horseman Season 3 on there. I know they have these app channels that are currently available, but they do not have a Netflix app channel. I think that's what you're referring to. For whatever reason, I'm getting the feeling that Netflix would have to work with them on creating that. I get the feeling that would have to be in play. I think Netflix is just so big right now, they just really don't care.
If I remember correctly, when it comes to the apps on Xbox One, they are developed by the app owner, the owner of the service. I may be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure I read, for example, when Netflix first came out on the 360, PS3, and then onto the Xbox One and PS4, one of the reasons that sometimes these apps get delayed coming out on the Xbox One rather is because Sony develops them on the PS4 side, but the app people themselves, Netflix or HBO Go, they develop the app on the Xbox One side. And so I think you're right. I think that if they wanted to do that kind of integration, I think that's probably part of the API Netflix is going to have to put in. I think the other problem with putting Netflix in the One Guide, and I like the One Guide to be quite honest, I use it more than I thought I would. There's so much content on Netflix. How in the world do you curate it?
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm surprised that they don't have it on there in some way, shape, or form. I know Anchorman said
that it was a recently added thing, like the stuff that they recently put on Netflix, were showcased. That'd be nice. But again, that would require Netflix, care.
And with Netflix being so much more relevant now with their original shows actually kind of taking off. I don't know if you guys saw Stranger Things. Absolutely loved that series. I'm hoping they do a season 2 on that, and it's an original Netflix series. So with them coming out with these series that are substantial, people are talking about, people are watching, you would figure that they would decide to do something within the One Guide.
I'm saying right now, Daredevil and House of Cards, 2 of the best.
Man, that's because you haven't watched Stranger Things yet, though. I gotta
watch Stranger Things.
I've heard nothing but things about that.
You must have not
Yeah.
seen Daredevil then.
No, I didn't actually.
It's good.
My son has been begging me to watch that, so
It's good.
I am gonna put a little marathon in there at some point in time.
I will say this real quick, that is probably, in my opinion, one of the greatest shows that I have ever watched. And when I saw Netflix actually had shows when I first got it, like a couple months ago, because I had cable, so I didn't care about Netflix. But I finally got it. I'm like, these shows, I thought they were gonna be like little cheap shows. No, these are full-blown productions, man. That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, man, and especially after Comic-Con when they announced that Luke Cage is coming out in September, and then they're gonna have Iron Fist after that.
Iron Fist, that's gonna be crazy.
They said he's gonna be gruesome, man. I'm looking forward to that. Luke Cage, oh man.
Oh my god. But yeah, so what was the other question I had pulled up? So one question, and this is actually one I think, I don't know. I'll let you guys hear it. The question was, damn, I just missed it again. What if Microsoft brought PlayStation Now, at least the service, to Xbox?
Huh?
The PlayStation Now being that the rental service, the rental streaming
I know what it
service.
is. How would that even? How would they?
Well,
I mean, I think that's kind of the point of where Sony wants to go. I remember reading a lot of stuff right after the PlayStation 4
they
was
want to go
released.
streaming.
Yeah, they're making themselves a service like Microsoft is. They're doing the same exact thing. Xbox is going to be more of a concept for the entire gaming between the consoles, the PC, whatever. It's like Windows 10. And Sony is good, from what I understand, is trying to do the same thing but make it a service. And it's not going to be tied to hardware exactly. It's going to be like you can stream it because like PlayStation Now, if you have like a Sony like a Bravia TV, you can stream the game directly to your TV.
Yeah.
Or like you could do it with the little
They're going to
PlayStation.
use the PlayStation brand as a streaming service to help the other divisions, like their TV division, get up out of the red. They're going to try to rescue basically the rest of Sony on the PlayStation brand. And in the end, if you look years down the line, both companies want to go to a streaming-based service. I mean, that's why they're investing in like server farms and stuff like that. That's where they're going.
Because it's harder to pirate a streaming game.
Yeah.
Well, certainly.
Yeah.
They're all trying to do what the Phantom console couldn't.
I wouldn't have a problem with it if they came out with that. I've never been personally like a big PlayStation guy myself, but I can say that if they came out with it, I'd give it a shot. I'm willing to give anything a shot. And to be honest with you, I mean, I got to throw out those credentials again. I got that 300 megabytes per second, so I think I'm decent. Throw out those credentials right there.
Dropping it down.
I don't know. So you know, it is true that right now the PlayStation division is holding Sony up. That I believe I had read, and we're going to talk about this a little bit on Sunday night on the NLG podcast. I believe PlayStation accounts right now for like 75% of their profits. They are heavily banking on it, but I don't know how they accomplish that unless somebody makes a Universal Windows app that then runs on the Xbox One. Other than that, I don't know how they accomplish that.
Well, I think what he's trying to say here with this question is not more or less how, but what would you think about that? Is what he's really trying to say.
Oh, okay. I mean, if it gets, look, there are some PS3, PS2 games that are really good. There are some PS2 games that are just absolute classics. I think if Xbox gamers had a chance to play them through a streaming service like that, I think it's a bonus.
Like
I mean, why not expand your base of playable games?
Like Star Wars Bounty Hunter. That's a good game.
Yeah, I mean, those are, I would be in favor of any platform doing that. Could you imagine having some sort of streaming Nintendo game service?
We could be getting Nintendo emulators, like Super Nintendo emulator, Game Boy emulator when Windows 10 fully
I
drops.
believe somebody had already had brought over a working Nintendo 64 emulator.
Oh, dude, that would be amazing.
Oh man, to play Mario 64 again? Hell yeah!
Yeah.
I
One of the
actually
first
played
games
that.
I was thinking about.
I
That
actually
is the
played that
game. That is the
yesterday.
game that broke me of my Sega fanboyism.
Oh,
I was
wow.
I was the biggest Sega guy you could ever find, and still am. I people that know me know that. But Nintendo 64 was the system that actually got me to begin owning Nintendo products and going, why did I block myself off from all these great games, as a young stupid kid.
What about
So
that
play those
007
again.
GoldenEye?
Oh, and GoldenEye, right? I mean, good lord.
Yeah, that game was great, man. If they came out with like a remaster, if Nintendo would actually, be smart and release it, because they're not doing anything with it anymore, they would give it to Microsoft or someone, just let it out with a remaster of it. Man, I would buy that. I don't care. I would freaking play that. I played it with my buddy when he came over here. We were just, I got tongue tied. I got all excited for this game, man. But this game, like I played it with my buddy, and I was like, man, these graphics, they look terrible, but I still love it. I mean, it's crazy, dude. I can't play it on PC. I don't like the emulators. I like to play it classic. I have the Banjo-Kazooie and all that stuff, classic. I play it on my 360 or my Xbox One occasionally on the 360 version of Banjo-Kazooie, but I'm not into that kind of stuff at all. I really like the classics.
Yeah, I mean, if I have to play anything, oh, I have to play my Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Oh, Dreamcast is still like, dude. To be honest with you, Xbox One is right up there. On my list of like best consoles I've owned, and that's because of the games, man. They are bringing like the Sunset Overdrives. Forza's like my favorite racing franchise, both Horizon and Motorsport. Of course, you have Halo and stuff like that, and the Halo multiplayer that came out on the X1 is just immaculate in my opinion. But Dreamcast still holds that. I think it's still on that #1 spot for me. Just like the innovation with the VMUs and the games that we had with the Power Stone and stuff like that. Like, man, I absolutely loved my Dreamcast.
The greatest thing I was able to do was find a good VGA cable and a VGA to HDMI converter, and I can relive my life. Sega also was the catalyst for me becoming a game journalist in the late '90s too. So I mean,
Nice.
they gave me a chance, and I owe them a lot of what I even do today. But as far as the console goes, and there's a video up on our channel if anybody wants to look at it, where I kind of not only show you what the games look like in HDMI, but I kind of give a little retrospective on the Dreamcast. People don't understand how much of what we play today, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Wii U, how much of that stuff came from the Dreamcast. How much of that stuff was actually taken from things that the Dreamcast did.
Yeah.
And so watch that. If you guys get a chance, check out that video, because I think you'll find a lot of striking similarities between what we're doing now and what Sega was doing back in 1996, or 99 rather.
Nice. Yo, Anchor, do you mind if I touch on that question real quick?
Sure.
All right, cool. See, I looked at the question in two different ways. First off, I looked at it as if PlayStation Now would somehow find their way onto the Xbox console. All right, and if that ever happened, I don't know. The prices are a little astronomical to me. You know what I'm saying? The monthly service, even some of the prices for the games to buy them outright, just a little. It's too much. I think it's too expensive. That's my personal opinion. But then I looked at it in a different way, as in, like, say Microsoft came out with an Xbox Now service. You see what I'm saying? Where it would go all the way back to the OG Xbox games that a lot of people have been asking for them to make like an emulator for that to go backwards compatible and stuff. And I mean, Microsoft is all about choices right now. If you can see that, like every time you have an Xbox executive, a Microsoft executive up there. They're talking choices for people. I think they would have a lower price point, and as long as they keep going with the backwards compatibility, if they want to do that type of choice but make it more affordable than what I see going on with PlayStation now, I mean, it's a choice. And you wouldn't have to get it. You would still have your backwards compatibility, going like full swing with the 360 games. So as long as they kept going with the backwards compatibility and they made it more affordable than PlayStation Now, I wouldn't have a problem with Microsoft doing something like that with Xbox games.
Mm-hmm. All right. So yeah, I think it kind of answered the question for everyone. I mean, I'm just kind of like cool with whatever. I just whatever, as long as people can enjoy their games the way they want to enjoy them, I'm fine with it.
Agreed.
And that's kind of with me. But we got to end it here tonight, guys. I got some stuff I got to do before the evening is over. Thank you for everybody who came and checked out the live stream and leaving your questions. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you, everybody. And this has been Anchorman for Tick Podcast. We'll see you guys later.